Okay, we're on 26.1, which is Introduction to Ellipses. And I'm going to go over 8 through 10, which is graphing ellipses and labeling the important points. So we have the center of this ellipse, because the h and the k value are both 0. I'm going to say the center is at 0, 0. And before we fill in all the important points, let's graph it first, and then this will become very apparent. So I'm going to plot the center of the ellipse first. And we have to look at the denominators to determine how many to count in each direction in the x direction. So under the x squared, we have 16. We need to take the square root of this number to determine how much to count in each direction. So square root of 16 is 4. That means in the x direction, I'm going to count 4 in the positive and 4 in the negative direction. These 2 points are on my ellipse. And then in the y direction, this, if we take the square root of 9, that's 3 in the y direction. So 3 in the positive y direction and 3 in the negative y direction. We now have enough points to sketch our ellipse. The V stands for vertices. The definition of vertices are the points on the ellipse that are on the major axis. Major axis refers to the longer axis. Here the x, or the major axis, is longer. This is the minor axis, which is shorter. So the vertices are the points on the ellipse here and here. So at 4, 0 and negative 4, 0. The co-vertices are the points that are on the minor axis, or the shorter. So 0, 3 and 0, negative 3. The length of the major axis is the length or the distance from the end of the ellipse to the other end on the longer side. So from here to here is 8. And the length of the minor axis is the length of the shorter axis on the ellipse. From here to here is 6. On number 9, we now have a center that's not at 0, 0. So if we compare this, this is x minus h squared, this is y minus k squared. H is equal to negative 2. K is equal to 0. So I'm going to plot my center at negative 2, 0. And from the center, I'm going to count the appropriate amount in each direction to draw the ellipse. So in the x direction, we need to take the square root of this denominator. Square root of 4 is 2. That tells me that I'm going to count positive 2 in the x direction and negative 2 in the x direction. So these 2 points are on my ellipse. In the y direction, we need to take the square root of this number. Square root of 36 is 6. That means I need to count 6 in the y direction, positive 6 and negative 6. So here's our ellipse. And now let's look at the vertices. So if we compare this is a vertical ellipse because the major axis is in the y direction. This one is a horizontal ellipse because the major axis was in the x direction. So here our vertices would be here and here. This point is at negative 2, 6. And we also have a vertex at negative 2, negative 6. Then the co-vertices are on the shorter axis, or the minor axis, at 0, 0 and negative 4, 0. So the length of the major axis would be the distance from one end of the ellipse to the other in the longer direction, or in the y direction in this case. So from here all the way to here is 12. And the minor, or the shorter axis, here is in the x direction from negative 4 to 0, so that's 4. All right, and our last graph, number 10. The center, so if we compare this to our x minus h squared and our y minus k squared, h is equal to 1. That's the x value of the center. K is equal to 4. That's the y value of the center. So my center is here at 1, 4. And the x direction, we need to take the square root of 25, which is 5. And I need to count positive 5 and negative 5 from the center. So positive 5 and then negative 5 in the x direction. So from the center, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's important to remember to count from the center, don't count from the origin. So it's 5 from the center in both directions. And then in the y direction, the square root of 1 is just 1. So I go up 1 and down 1 in the y direction. So we have this narrow ellipse. The vertices in this ellipse, the major axis is in the x direction. So the vertices will be here and here. So the points are at 6, 4 and negative 5, 4. Or actually that's 1, 2, 3, negative 4, 4. And the co-vertices are on the minor axis, so here we have 1, 3, and 1, 5. And my scale is a little bit off here, so this point right here should be at 3.